Hey everyone, long time no see. I know all four of you are wondering where you're all wondering where I've been, and the answer is I've been having a wonderful time overseas. I am currently in the Netherlands, and I've been actually traveling a bit around Europe. I'm going to be doing more soon. And just before I came over to Europe, I was actually in New Zealand with my mother, doing a 3-day bushwalk hike in the South Island. It was beautiful. I actually got a shiny relicanth, the second relicanth I found when I was there. I already caught one last time I was there, but that was pretty cool. Anyway, I just wanted to say, sorry I haven't uploaded much. I haven't had much time to do many battles, and the coverage where I am in terms of where I'm staying, it's not great, which is totally fine. Everything else is amazing. It's just kind of hard to record battles, but I think I actually found a spot in the house I'm staying in where the Wi-Fi actually works well. So now I can start recording some battles more. And I took a break because I wasn't really enjoying PvP towards the end of last season, especially because I had so much on coming up to this trip. And I knew I wasn't going to make Legend or anywhere near it. And I wasn't fussed. I knew this would take not just one season of trying, this would take multiple. Either way, I just wanted to show you that I am here, and I am still trying to learn and still trying to get better. In fact, actually, I made it to Ace today after not really playing much, and I actually had one of my highest it may be my highest starting elo of all time. I'll show you later. Anyway, these are my 2016, 2017 mons. I'm just showing them, but I'm sorry I haven't been doing much, but I have been still trying to learn, watching a lot of videos. Home Slice Henry, all those guys. Yeah, I've even battled Home Slice Henry a couple times through his Discord, and other members. They've all been helping me. It's been great. I think I truly have learned a lot, and I think I can definitely hit Legend. It's just a matter of when, not if, because it will happen, and I know it will. Anyway, I wanted to showcase this team I've been using in the Master League. I was using Black KYUREM at first because my 98 KYUREM. I did 100 KYUREM raids. Don't ask me how much money it cost. It was really fun though. I was enjoying it. 100 KYUREM raids, but only one was a 98, no 96s, and one meh 93. Anyway, I was using Black KYUREM, didn't really like it. Oh, I did like it, but I decided to use White KYUREM, and this is the outcome of that. Hopping into the first match here, we are leading Rhyperior into Black KYUREM. Now, this is when I first started using the team, so a few of my plays have not been great. I went for a breaking swipe bait, which is what I kind of tend to do, but he actually no-shielded, and that's quite annoying. You also get a free shock debuff. At least I've shielded the free shock. Now here, he makes it to another free shock, so this is me testing out the team, and I was really rusty. I hadn't battled in ages. Anyway, I get switch advantage, however, I'm down 2 shields, and what you don't want in this meta, really, is to be down 2 shields. However, I did get the KYUREM out of the way, which is the main reason you don't want to be down shields. If you're down shields and your opponent still hasn't shown their KYUREM yet, just expect to lose, basically, because if they're up energy or you're down shields, there's not much you can do. KYUREM is absolutely busted, and I love it. I love the Pokemon so much. Anyway, this guy brings in Shadow Mewtwo. I actually get both shields from him with my Rhyperior. He goes for Side Strike on my Dialga, and he has a Ho in the back, but I can make it to this Roar of Time before he makes it to his move, and that will one-hit KO, and I bring in my White KYUREM just to finish him off. Now, if you're wondering why my White KYUREM's IVs are so well, it's because I didn't get another really good KYUREM that I wanted to power up, but I do have enough XL candy to power a third one up if I want to, so I will be doing that once I get a good one, hopefully a Hundo or a Shundo even from a lucky trade. Anyway, I'll get into the commentary of this match. So this match, we led Rhyperior into Palkia. Now, some of you might think that that's a bad lead, considering Palkia is a water dragon type, and I'm a rock ground type, which is double weak to water. However, it's not a bad lead, because normal Rhyperior actually wins the 2s against Palkia, and Shadow wins the 2s and 1s. They switch in a Ho-Oh into my Rhyperior, which I was really confused about. My backline doesn't really like Ho-Oh, so I stayed in with Rhyperior, and I actually am able to bank I'm able to bank a Rock Wrecker and switch in my Dialga here. They'll go for actually go for a Brave Bird, which does a lot, but I'm able to make the Roar of Time against their swap in, which was KYUREM White. This gets the shield, and basically I can just come in with Rhyperior and either force their energy or force, or just KO them with Rock Wrecker. Now, they still have this Palkia though, so I think they just... Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Sorry, I didn't even mention it. The Palkia was on Dragon Tail, so I was quite confused in this match. I was like... the counts are basically the same for Dragon Tail and Dragon Breath, but I was like being thrown off. Anyway, we won that match, so GG's to our opponent. All right, here's our next match. Rhyperior into Mewtwo. This is a decent lead. It's not great, but it's not bad. I am happy to see it here. They go for their Side Strike. Not on the best timing on their part. They should have thrown 2 more. They should throw on 7. Anyway, I can no-shield the Side Strike, and they have to shield this Rock Wrecker, otherwise I just KO them. Maybe they can survive 1 health. I think they might be able to survive that. Anyway, I shield up their next Side Strike. I go for the Breaking Swipe. This is actually an error, because they'll survive this, and they do, and they no-shield it. So now I have to consider either shielding, getting Switch, or getting energy on my Dialga or White KYUREM. They have Kyogre. I switch in my Dialga. They send in their Ho-Oh, and this is... they're upper shield, so this isn't great. However, this isn't bad, because I can go for Orb of Time here. That gathers their shield. I don't know what terminology I'm using there. Anyway, they get knocked out, and I'm actually able to make the Rock Wrecker against the Ho-Oh, which is great, because Incinerate registers on turn 4. Mudslap is a 3-turn move, so I'm just able to get it. Now, you might be thinking this is a bit tough, considering I've got all resistant moves, and they've also got all resistant moves, but look how much damage Ice Burn does. Basically, does 50% to Kyogre, which is ridiculous. They go for Blizzard, but that doesn't matter. I have White KYUREM. Black and White KYUREM are just so busted, so I'm able to survive that and get the win there. So GG's to that opponent. Okay, hopping into this next match, leading Rhyperior into Landorus. Now, Landorus is a core breaker for this team. I'm extremely weak to Landorus. I used to use this team with Black KYUREM, as I said earlier in the video, which I basically just straight lost to. Now, I kind of know what I have to do. So I go for the Rock Wrecker here. They shield it this time, which is interesting. I'm able to make the Breaking Swipe, which is good. This will just get a little bit of extra damage, and maybe debuff them too, which it doesn't, sadly. I can bring in White KYUREM here. Now I'm shielding because they will probably go for Stone Edge, but they also have Sandsear Storm. They actually bait with Sandsear Storm, which is really annoying, because they make another Sandsear Storm here. So I can no-shield it comfortably, but it's just annoying because now I'm double debuffed. And they bring in Shadow Tyranitar. I hard switch in my Dialga, and they actually respond with their Zarude in the back. So they are quite weak in the back to Dialga. So I might still be able to win this. I go for the Roar of Time here. If they no shield, this is great, because then, as they do, I can apply lots of fast move pressure with my Dialga here. They make it to a move. It's probably a brutal swing. I actually have enough health to survive that and make the Iron Head, which will comfortably grab their shield. Otherwise, they would get knocked out. I can switch in my KYUREM here, and I have just enough health to make it to an Ice Burn. These ice moves on both KYUREM forms are just ridiculous. Like, neutrally, they do 90% to, like, everything. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, GG's to that opponent. Here's our next match, leading Rhyperior into Black KYUREM. Now, this is a lead that we played against before. They actually they switch into Necrozma Dawn Wings, which is quite interesting. This season, because of the rise of both KYUREM forms, Yveltal was quite kind of taken a bit of a back foot. So the safe swap here of Necrozma Dawn Wings isn't it's not the worst thing in the world. It's a bit weird, but I rate it. They'll go for the other... I shield their first Moongas Beam, they go for another one. Now I can comfortably come in with White KYUREM and get a really good energy lead, and they have Black KYUREM in the back. Thankfully, it's on Shadow Claw. You might see later in the video, some KYUREM Blacks are not on Shadow Claw, which is probably not optimal, but specifically in the back against my team is very bad for me. Anyway, I shield their Free Shock. They actually get the debuff, which is so annoying. I bank an Ice Burn. Yeah, I bank an Ice Burn. Come in with Rhyperior. Now I make, not a mistake, but because I'm low in my elo, I wasn't even in rank 20 yet, I decided to go for a Breaking Swipe there. If they were counting, they would have no-shielded it. But here I make another mistake. I go for the Breaking Swipe here. This won't even do any damage, and they'll be able to knock me out here, and I have a choice to make. Do I throw the move? And I throw it, and they catch. I was thinking that maybe if because I'm in the lower elo range, they might not actually think of catching, because they had a close combat banked. But it was a 50-50, so GG's to that opponent. I should just played it better anyway. Next match is Rhyperia into Zacian. Now this is, it's a tricky lead, but it's a bit comfortable for Rhyperia because you can always guarantee basically a Rock Wrecker. Now they actually hard switch in Rhyperia here. I don't, usually, this is quite early on as I said, usually I just switch into KYUREM straight away, but I go for the breaking swipe there. It doesn't get a debuff, which is quite unfortunate. Now clocks are slightly misaligned. I go for the Rock Wrecker there, so that was a good shield by me. I get the farm down before they're able to throw anything else, and they send back in Zacian. I'm able to go for the CMP here, go for the Fusion Flare, gets the shield, but I actually decide here to shield back because I want shields down, especially with energy on my Rhyperia, and they actually send in their Black KYUREM. So I'm going to go for a Ice Burn here. They have to shield it, and then I'm able to send in my Rhyperia and make the Rock Wrecker before they can farm me down. They send back in their Zacian, and I send in White KYUREM to get a lot of fast move damage and basically to force energy because they'll go for the close combat here. And will they have enough time to get to the back-to-back before I can farm them down? They will not. So GG's to that opponent. Once again, leading Rhyperia into Black KYUREM. Now this time they're on Dragon Tail. So I go for the breaking swipe bait, and it does get a shield this time, which is great. Because they're on Dragon Tail, they have a lot more fast move pressure, but they don't have as much energy generation. They actually go for the bait there, which is quite annoying, and I think they caught this Rock Wrecker. They did on their Rhyperia, but I can just switch in my White KYUREM and get a full farm down here. I shield because whether it's a breaking swipe or not, I need to shield it. They go for the Rock Wrecker, which is what they should do. And they send in their Palkia, which I think by looking at the animation appears to be on Dragon Tail too, and it is, but I'm able to get the farm down because they no shielded. They send in their Black KYUREM, and they actually throw energy here. I think they could have maybe overfarmed a bit more, but maybe not. But I've Dialga Origin, so this game's over. GG's to that opponent. Alright, leading into the next match, Rhyperia into Dragon Breath Gyarados. Thankfully not a Waterfall, but none would be on Waterfall this season usually. Low power mode there, a bit awkward. Shield up the Aqua Tail, farm up one more and go for the Rock Wrecker. They'll probably shield this, but they don't have to. I think they do barely survive it. They do shield it. Now I look to pivot into my Dialga. They make a mistake here. I reckon they should have kept their energy. They throw a Crunch. I don't have to shield that. That will do nothing. They send in their Ho-Oh, and I'm able to make a Roar of Time just before they're able to get their Sacred Fire. That's actually something I've been learning more, also off of what the opponents do, like there with the Gyarados throwing the Crunch. I think that's something I do. I tend to, before I do a counter swap, I like to throw a move, and this is what I've noticed. I like to throw a move and think about what I should do, but what I've actually done is it actually shoots me in the foot a lot of the time because I need that energy later in the game. Anyway, they're bringing their Black KYUREM here. I go for the Ice Burn. That almost one hits. I send in my Rhyperia. Did I get the Fusion Bolt catch? Yes, I did. Add insult to injury. I get the farm down. Let's see what they throw back in. I think that Ho-Oh is still alive, and the Gyarados too. I go for one Mud Slap and the move. Rock Wrecker hits, goes down. Here comes Ho-Oh, and they get farmed down. So GG's to that opponent. Here's our next match, leading Rhyperia again into White KYUREM. This is a tricky lead as they can do a lot of damage with their Ice Fang, but they switch out for some reason. They bring in Landorus. Now, they do make the Stone Edge, so I will shield. They go for the CNC Storm or whatever. I still need to shield that. And to see what else they do. Like, the great thing about White KYUREM is like 7 Ice Fangs and they get to the bottom of a White KYUREM, which is great. They send back in the White KYUREM, and now I see why they switched. I don't think they should have, but they're actually on Dragon Breath, which is a interesting moveset. I go for the Fusion Flare, get the shield. I go for the Fusion Flare number 2. This does not grab the second shield. However, they're extremely low. And in the back, they have a Mamoswine or Mud Slap. And I'm like, oh no. Because my 2 Pokemon in the back are weak to Mud Slap. The good thing is I can go for an Iron Head here. This will grab a shield, which it does. And the Dragon Breaths add up a lot. So they are forced to throw their energy. This is something I need to try. I need to try Mamoswine on Icicle Spear, definitely. That is something cool. Now I can get the farm down, but they get to a move. Oh my god, I was so mad. But I was able to make a catch because I was like, hang on, their White KYUREM is a move, and they're not gonna this is too low elo. They're gonna throw it straight away. So I get the catch, and I get revenge for that earlier match where I got caught. Well, they caught my move earlier in the match. So anyway, GG's to that opponent. Next match here was Rhyperia into Duskmane. They safe swap their Palkia and I respond with Dialga Origin. This is good for me. I shield. They actually gave it for the Aqua Tail, and here I learned that I cannot get... Oh, never mind. I think if they're best buddied, they're able to make another Spatial Rend there if they bait. So it can get quite tricky there. They send back in their Necrozma though. You'll see later in the battles that I do, I think, battle a Palkia, where they do make a move there. In the back, they have a white KYUREM. Bit interesting. I can go for the breaking swipe here. This will get a debuff or do a bit of damage. They actually use shield it, which is great. I can go for breaking swipe number 2. Hopefully this gets the debuff. Gets the last shield, and it does get a debuff, so I can send in my white KYUREM. I can shield up, which hopefully is an Ice Burn, which it is. Great. And I'll be able to make a Fusion Flare here to KO them. And then all they have left is the Duskmane, which I can apply a lot of fast move pressure. I think I might have outpaced there. Even if I didn't, I think my Rhyperior had enough health to farm them down. So GG's to that opponent. I also want to say sorry if my commentary is a bit weird. I haven't done this in a while, and I'm still not the best at this, so I'm still trying to learn. I don't script anything, obviously. I'm just doing these for fun, really. So, you know, please leave feedback if you think there's anything I could do differently to make these commentary videos more interesting for you. But I'm just doing it to try and hold myself accountable, because I really want to hit Legends League one day, which I will. It's just a matter of when, not if. As I said earlier, I will make it. But yeah, leave some feedback about not just about the team and the battles and all that, but about the video and about what you'd prefer, what you hate, not hate, that's a strong word, but what you dislike. Maybe you think the audio's a bit loud, quiet, the music, anything. Please be critical, because I want to make these videos better, and I'm completely new to this still, so any help will be greatly appreciated. Sorry I haven't commentated on this battle. They go for the free shock, and I can survive that, and even with the debuff, I'm able to knock them out, so GG's to that opponent. Here's our next match, leading Rhyperior into Palkia. Now this Palkia is on Dragon Tail, which is interesting. There I play for a CMP tie, which I don't win. I'm not super used to Dragon Tail counts. I'm pretty sure it's almost the same as Dragon Breath. I don't know why people actually run Dragon Tail, but to each your own. I accidentally over-tapped there. That was my fault. I wasn't really paying attention then. It was just a complete, just mistake. So now I'll go down a shield, and now I'm down a shield, and I've lost switch. So this battle could not be going any worse. I have to go for a bait here. I need the shield back. They do shield, thankfully. And what I could do now is no shield and hope that they're weak to white KYUREM in the back, but they're probably not. I think they haven't even shown their KYUREM form yet. They stay in though, which is quite interesting, because this will give me a lot of farm. I'm able to shield up that Sacred Fire, and they have a Metagross in the back, and they debuff me with a Sacred Fire, so that battle is instantly over. So GG's to that opponent. Here's another familiar lead, Rhyperior into Palkia. This time the Palkia is on Dragon Breath. Now here I always overfarm. Now especially I do, because if I go for the breaking swipe there and they don't overfarm themselves, it's a CMP tie that I lose. But if they throw on 12, I get an entire Mud Slap for free, and I can actually throw extra breaking swipes. There I overfarm, which is quite interesting. I don't think that's the correct play, because Rhyperior wins the 2 shields. Oh, that makes sense, because they actually shield there, so it did make sense in the end. But what the opponent could have done is, because they knew that if they knew their matchups better, which some of us are beginners, they would have known that Rhyperior wins the 2s, so they would have let their Palkia go down. I'm actually able to make another breaking swipe against their white KYUREM. Now they do not get the debuff, so they can go for an Ice Burn here. This will basically one-hit me. Then I can send in my white KYUREM, and oh no, they have a Duskmane in the back. I go for the Fusion Flare, but it barely doesn't KO. I was like, oh, damn. I was like, hang on, does this KO? And I don't have enough health to survive against the white KYUREM, sadly. I was like, hang on, does this KO? But that shows how, that's an Ice Dragon type against an Ice Dragon type against a Steel type in the end. Down shields, no energy leads, same shields. I should always lose that, and I almost win. In fact, if I was best buddied, I think I win, which is quite shocking. Anyway, GG's to that opponent. You know, one thing I really need to get better at is finishing my voice clips before the next battle starts, because this battle is already truly underway. Anyways, Rhyperior and Rhyperior. Their Rhyperior was best buddied, so I just soft lose this front matchup. They send in Palkia, and I send in my Dialga, and they switch in their KYUREM, and that means that they are weak to my Dialga Origin, which is quite good. That's the best thing about Dialga Origin, is it beats both KYUREM forms, which is great. They send back in their Power Cure after their white KYUREM goes down. I can go for an Iron Head here, because if they shield, which they do, I can send in my white KYUREM, and I have a shield to hide behind. I'll make a move. There's really nothing they can do, so GG's to that opponent. Interesting matchup here. Rhyperior to Shadow Gardevoir, which is quite interesting. Haven't seen a Shadow Gardevoir in a long time. I can just go for the Rock Wrecker here. They can shield it or not. They no shield, trying to punish a bait, but I'm not baiting here. So their Shadow Gardevoir is gone. I go for the Breaking Swipe. Honestly, I probably should have built up to the Rock Wrecker, but they do shield it, which is great. I can just send in Dialga. They have been debuffed, but an Ice Burn would still do quite a lot of damage. So I respect it. And shield. They send in their Rhyperior, I send in my white KYUREM, and this game's basically over. As I can shield. It is a Breaking Swipe bait, but I need a shield there. I don't want to play that game. Go for the Fusion Flare, because I don't want them to make another move. They actually shield it, which is fine, because that means they'll make another move. And it's going to be a Rock Wrecker or a Breaking Swipe. I think they made a Rock Wrecker, yep. But I can just send back in my Dialga. They can send in their white KYUREM, and I'm able to outpace to an Iron Head. So, yeah, pretty comfortable match there, but GG's to that opponent. Alright. That glitch keeps happening where it's like, oh, let's go to the Go Battle League. Anyway, Rhyperior into Black KYUREM. This one's on Shadow Claw like most are. So I can outpace and make it to the Rock Wrecker one turn before they make it to their Free Shock. They shield it, which is fine. And now that they actually bait with a Fusion Bolt, which is amazing for me. I no-shielded because I was like, I could just come in with Dialga and farm down. I make it to a Breaking Swipe here. They no-shield it. I probably should have kept farming. And here I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to no-shield this. And they go for Free Shock, which is fine. I come in white KYUREM. They send in Melmetal, and I switch in Dialga. And this is not looking great. Melmetal is a core breaker to this team, as you can tell. However, Rhyperior does quite well into it, especially on the lead, because Mud Slap's just so busted. And Dialga's, because of the stat product of like Dialga, you can just go for Roar of Time and it does like 50% of their health. So they have to either shield it or just let most of their Melmetal go. And this Melmetal, after a superpower, just goes down. They send in their Dialga, but I can actually, I'd be able to make the Roar of Time, but they'd make an Iron Head before. So I actually go for the Iron Head to just get a bit of chip damage. I send in my white KYUREM. Now, the only win con is if I can farm down before they make it to a second Iron Head, but I think they will make it to another Iron Head, and they do. So, GG's to that opponent. Pretty close, but I think I could have played that differently, but the Melmetal was quite... Oh, what? Hang on a minute. I just won that. What? I got to go back and see how I won that. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, I just checked and realised my Dialga had a bit of health left. I forgot about that. So, that sounded so fake. So, GG's to that opponent. Terrible lead in this match. Kyogre into Rhyperior. That's really bad. Safe swap into Dialga, and they respond with their Landorus. That's even worse. Go for the Iron Head here. There's no reason to go for Iron Head. Always go for Roar of Time. You're not going to make a second move even if you bait. They get a nice farm down, but I can send in my white KYUREM. Now, they are enough for a Stone Edge, so I will shield. They bait with a Sandsea Storm, but it doesn't matter. I need to shield that. Because if I no shield into Stone Edge, I'm just dead. I've lost. They send in their Zacian. Is this Zacian on Snarl? I think I just realized. I go for the Fusion Flare. It is on Snarl. Very interesting. They have their Kyogre still in the back, so I switch in my Rhyperior because I'm like, hang on. I can get their shield, which they do elect to shield on their Kyogre. I can send back in KYUREM, and their Zacian has a move, but as long as I can have a move when they send back in their Zacian, I will be okay. In fact, if I double up on Fusion Flares, I'll win this game. They go for a move here, and I anticipate, you know what, they're going to send in their Zacian straight away. So I go for the Fusion Flare, and I win the CMP tie. I was very proud of that because it's not like a top tier play, but it is something that you need to do. You need to realize, hang on, they might send in their Zacian and go for a combo play, especially when you're lower in elo range like I am. People aren't really thinking about like the 50-50, like, oh, I won't send it in, or I will send it in, I don't know. Because if they didn't send it in there and I kept farming, then I'd be able to get to the back-to-back. Anyway, GG's to that opponent. There I go again with my rambling. I really need to stop doing that. Next match, Rhyperior into Lugia, which is quite interesting. I hit the Rock Wrecker. They go for an Aeroblast, and I no-shield that. I can farm up a lot here. Go for the Rock Wrecker, because if they no-shield, I will just KO them. And if I went for the Breaking Swipe and they no-shielded, that's pretty bad. They send in their Dialga here. Now, I could go for the Breaking Swipe, get a bit of chip damage, hopefully get a debuff, which I don't get. Now, this is uncomfortable, as I can send in my Dialga. However, I am down on energy, so I will go for the Iron Head here, because they'll outpace me to the Roar of Time. This will do a decent amount of damage. They actually like to shield it, which I'm like, you know what? That's fine. Their Dragon Breath will do a lot of damage to my White Kyurem, but maybe a bunch of energy can win me this game against whatever they have in the back. They have a Kyogre. And most things in this meta, I'd be able to win here. I go for the Ice Burn. That does a ton of damage, but here, I need to make it to the back-to-back Fusion Flares. I have 2 shields, but it's not going to matter. I'm not going to be able to make it to the back-to-back Fusion Flares, and I'm not going to be able to farm them down. But it's going to be really close. That was a really close endgame there, especially when my Kyurem had half its health left. Anyway, GG's to that opponent. Unfortunate. Leading Rhyperior once more into Primarina. Now, most Primarinas, because of the Kyurem meta, are on Charm, and this one is also on Charm, which means I can comfortably outpace to a Rock Wrecker here, and actually overfarm by 1. I throw the Rock Wrecker, and they shield it, of course. Now I can farm up again, and they go for the Hydro Cannon here, and I'm like, you know what, I'll shield it. I want shields down for Kyurem, because that is... Kyurem with shields down is just amazing. I can go for a Breaking Swipe here, and let's see if they elect to shield or not. Probably let it go, and they do. And they send in their own Kyurem form, and I have the back-to-back Breaking Swipes, so I can go for the Breaking Swipe there, and I actually get the debuff, and I'm not able to make another one, but that's okay. I can bring in my Dialga here, and I can no-shield. They got debuffed, so even a Freeze Shock won't do a ton of damage, but it still does quite a hefty amount. They get the debuff, but it's okay. They send in our Rhyperior, I send in my Kyurem. I can shield whatever this is. They go for the Rock Wrecker. I think I almost didn't shield because I miscounted, but I was like, no, they're definitely at the Rock Wrecker. They actually make another move here. It is just the Breaking Swipe, so they get farmed down. They send back in their, was it Dialga? It's definitely not Dialga. Yeah, Black Kyurem. And I'm at the back-to-back Fusion Flares, so GG's to that opponent. Another match here, Rhyperior is always into Melmetal. Now, this is a tricky Pokemon for my team, however, I do like to see it on the lead. They switch in their Palkia, and I switch in my Dialga. Now, the interesting thing is I shield, because I need to shield if they go for Spatial Rend, and they do, thankfully, but if they bait there, it can get very interesting, because as you see here, he's able to make it to a Knuckle Tail. Now, if he baited, then things would have been very tricky for me. Anyway, I grab Switch Advantage, which is good because I don't really want Melmetal to see my Kyurem in the back. I can go for a Roar of Time here. They can elect to shield it, and if they no-shield it, which they do, it does basically half their health. They will go for the Superpower here, lowers their stats, which means they're probably going to switch out, which they do. They switch in their own White Kyurem, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. They are up energy and up a shield against my White Kyurem. I go for the Breaking Swipe, and thankfully it gets the debuff. Now I can come in, go for the Fusion Flare, lose CMP tie, but because they got debuffed, I will survive either move. They go for the Fusion Flare there, which is good for me. I can go for my own Fusion Flare. They will shield it. And then they will elect to throw their energy or try for the farm down, which they don't get, and they catch on their Melmetal. I was like, what? Why are you doing that? And they lost that battle. I was really confused what they did. I think they probably would have won if they didn't do that. I don't know why they did that. I think they were trying to snipe, but they just lost count, and I just destroyed them with a Fusion Flare. They caught their Fusion Flare under a Pokemon that did not want to see a Fusion Flare. Anyway, GG's to that opponent. Next match here is a mirror lead, Rhyperior into Rhyperior. Now, I always farm up to just bluff a Surf. This Rhyperior likes to go for the Breaking Swipe straight away, and they do not get the debuff, so I'm actually going to go for the harder hitting Rock Wrecker here, because this will get them very low. Now, Breaking Swipe from them will not KO from here, so this will be a simultaneous KO if they go for one. They do go for the Breaking Swipe, and I'm able to gain the simultaneous KO. Now, let's wait the clock, and we'll send in our Dialga, and they send in Togekiss. This isn't great, but I'm more happy to see it on my Dialga than on my White Kyurem. Maybe not, actually. I think now in hindsight, I'd probably want to see it on White Kyurem, even though it would chunk my White Kyurem a lot more. The Ice Fangs would just tear through the Togekiss. I go for the shield because they have enough for the Aura Sphere. They actually go for a Psyshock. And I hard switch in my Kyurem here because I will be able to get a ton of damage. And they stay in, which is interesting. And they go for another Psyshock, but I'm able to get the full farm down here. They actually switch out. And in the back is a Primarina. Now, it's on Waterfall, which no Primarina's on the Waterfall. I go for the Ice Burn. They shield it, which is quite unfortunate. they're able to make a disarming voice. And here I realize, oh, I've lost, because Iron Head is such a terrible move that it would not be able to one-hit KO from here. Fairly doesn't, and I'm not able to get the farm down. So yeah, GG's to that opponent. Very weird team they had, Rhyperior double fairy, but it's not weird, but not those double fairies. That's not the double fairies that I usually tend to see. Anyway, GG's, GG's to that opponent. All right. Another bad lead, leading Rhyperior into Landorus. They actually throw an alignment there, which is good. I get a Mud Slap for free. I just always tank their Sandsear Storm, go for Rock Wrecker, and if they elect to shield or no shield, I play it out a bit differently. They will try and play for the farm down here. I am able to make a breaking swipe, and here's the thing. If they no shield this, which they do, I can send in my White KYUREM and snipe. So they lose all their energy on their Landorus, which is great. And thankfully now my Dialga just does not have to face... my Dialga doesn't have to face the Landorus, thankfully. They go for a Dark Pulse bait there, which is quite annoying, and they're able to outpace the next one. So I let it go, and they actually go for another Dark Pulse, so I'm able to farm up a bit more. Go for the 5 Fusion Flare, here. I kind of lost track a bit of where they're up to in energy, and I'm able to save my White KYUREM with a bunch of energy loaded. I think I'm 1 away from the Fusion Flare, so we'll see if that comes in handy later. I think my Rhyperior has a move banked. I'm not 100% sure though. Go for the Iron Head bait here, because if they no shield, I'll be able to farm down. They don't no shield, so I get them really low, and they're actually in a range where a Fusion Flare will KO, so I can send in my White KYUREM and make the Fusion Flare. I didn't have a move bank to Rhyperior. I don't know what I was talking about before. But yeah, very close game there. I'm able to make a Fusion Flare, and the game lags a bit, but we win. So GG's to that opponent. All right, next match here. So I'm rank 19. We're moving up in the world. Rhyperior into KYUREM Black. Let's see, is it Dragon Tail? It is Shadow Claw, which is great because I can make the Rock Wrecker before they make it to their Freeze Shock. I bait with the Breaking Swipe because they tend to shield it. This one does. And I'll shield back. They go for a Free Shock, which is great. Thankfully, it wasn't a bait from them. And I'll just go for Rock Wrecker here because I want to guarantee their final shield or guarantee the knockout. They shield, and I'm like, all right, this is cool. I will go down here, and I'll be able to bring in either of my back 2 Pokemon to get energy advantage. They actually go for a Fusion Bolt, so I'm able to farm up a bit, and they get to another move. I'm like, oh, okay. But then I was like, hang on, this is another Fusion Bolt. So I'm able to survive that and go for the Breaking Swipe here. So not only are they double baited, I can't commentate. They lose switch advantage, and I have a shield advantage. But a bit tricky is that they have an Necrozma Duskmane. This is a bit of a problem for my backline. However, with a shield advantage, it's not a problem at all, really. And then they switch in Zygarde, which is a Pokemon I haven't seen in ages, since the KYUREM forms have come out. So I'm able to farm up a bunch, go for the Ice Burn. That clearly one-shots the Zygarde all the way off the face of the planet. I make a Fusion Flare here, and this will clean one hit. Well, it's not a one hit, but it'll do a ton of damage to that Necrozma. Well, it was a one hit, but it's not a one hit from full health, so I only count one hits as one hit from full health. Anyway, GG's to that opponent. All right, Rhyperior into a Xerneas, which I haven't seen a lot of, which is interesting. It has decent play into both KYUREM forms. I wonder why. Maybe because like Geomancy is a bit of a clunky move. They go for their close combat. They actually stay in, so I'm able to go for my my Rock Wrecker, and they get a shield. They send in their Rhyperior, Shadow Rhyperior actually. I send in my White KYUREM. I shield their move, and it's actually Breaking Swipe, which is annoying because I'll be able to make another move. Actually, they're not able to make another move, so this is looking great for me. Let's see what they send in here. They send in their Palkia, and I go for an Ice Burn here. They'll probably shield it, because if they no shield it, it just do so much damage. I try and hit the switch option, but it doesn't come up. They actually throw energy here, and Aqua Tail does KO from that range. I send in my Dialga, and they send back in their Xerneas, but I'm like, I need to get rid of this Xerneas. So I stay in with Dialga. They go for the close combat. And then I send in my Rhyperior. I don't know why I did that. Oh, it's to force their energy, but I still don't think I should have done that. Anyway, I go for the Iron Head here. That will KO their Xerneas. But then they have too much health, so I think they'll make a Spatial Rend here. But they don't, thankfully. I think I played that a bit wrong, but if anyone wants to tell me what I did wrong, I think it was the switching in the Rhyperior, that random moment. Anyway, GG's to that opponent. Another match here, leading Rhyperior into Togekiss yet again. I'm very happy to see a Togekiss on the lead. This is a Pokemon I don't see much. it's not very good. It's good into dragons, obviously. It crushes so many of the dragons, but like, because it's so alignment dependent, I don't like it. It's not a really good Pokemon. I get the shield with the Rock Wrecker there. I'm actually able to make back-to-back Rock Wreckers here. But I will get hit by the last charm. But they decide to no-shield that. So that was a big mistake on their part, because I'm able to save my Rhyperior with the Rock Wrecker. In that situation, if you're able to sneak a move, you should honestly just shield it up and take care of the Pokemon, because then they'll waste their energy. They have a Necrozma Dawnwings in the back. They go for the Dark Pulse there, and I'm unable to make the Iron Head, but I can send in my Rhyperior and go for a move here. And I knew if I go for the Rock Wrecker and they shield, I think I still win. But if I go for the Breaking Swipe and they shield or no shield, I win in either scenario. So I go for the Breaking Swipe there. They no shield, and I can just farm down. So GG's to that opponent. All right, Rhyperior into Duskmane Necrozma. This is a good lead for me, as Mud Slaps do a ton of damage. But most Necrozmas now are on Iron Head Outrage. So I no shield. Actually, it goes for the Iron Head. That does a ton of damage. They send in their Rhyperior. I switch in my KYUREM. They can go for a move. They go for the Breaking Swipe. They didn't even build up to the Rock Wrecker, so I could just definitely no shield that. Then I can shield this one because it's a Breaking Swipe, but it would KO me. They get the debuff, but this is actually not bad, because if they send in their Necrozma, they'd have to shield Fusion Flares. They send in their own KYUREM, and they actually shield the Iceburn, and then we do a bit of switching. Sorry, I'm losing track. I need to get better at that. I go for the Breaking Swipe. I go for the Breaking Swipe number 2. Barely doesn't KO, but I can get the Mud Slap through, and then they can send back in their KYUREM, and I should be able to farm them down before they're able to make the back-to-back. I go for the shield here. They go for the Fusion Flare. Will I be able to farm them down before they get to the Iceburn? Yes. Yes, I am. So GG's to that opponent. All right, hopping into, I think, one of our final matches. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, leading Rhyperior into Melmetal. As I've said earlier, this is a decent lead. They safe swap their Palkia Origin. I respond with my Dialga Origin. And this can get uncomfortable, as I usually always shield because I don't want to eat a Spatial Rend. They go for the Occotail Bait, which means they will be able to make a Spatial Rend, at least I think, in practice. So I go for the Iron Head here. They send in their Melmetal, and this honestly isn't great, as I won't be able to make the Roar of Time. I go for the Iron Head, but I don't know if I was really playing this correctly. Send in my Rhyperior, and they send in their White KYUREM. I'm like, oh god. So I send in, I go for the Breaking Swipe. They no shield it, which is actually interesting. I go for the second Breaking Swipe, and then I can send in my White KYUREM and hopefully get the farm down. Oh, never mind. Sorry, the switch isn't up. I'm all over the place today. They get a full farm down there, which is very nasty. Because I got some debuffs, I can no shield this. They go for the Iceburn. Barely doesn't even do half, which is actually surprising because Iceburn usually does a ton. Now, I knew here, I need to get back in this game by getting a catch. So I get the catch of the Double Iron Bash, which is awesome. And I make it to an Iron Head here. I know you're probably thinking, why would you go for an Iron Head here? This is not threatening at all. Well, now they're super low. So what I can do is I can shield and just keep going for Dragon Breath. They can farm up a lot. They go for the Superpower, but I'm like, oh my god, they just threw their game because they would have won. But because they went for the Superpower, they lowered their attack. And another Superpower does not KO. So GG's to that opponent. My commentary was all over the place in that battle, so I'm very sorry about that. All right, I'm going to try and have my commentary a bit better in this battle. Rhyperior into Ho-Oh. This is a good lead, unless they're on Solar Beam, which I ran into one with Solar Beam. That was not cool. I go for the bait here with Breaking Swipe. Thank God they shielded. I did actually do that once and they no-shielded, and I was like, I would rather jump off a cliff. See, I shield there because I'm scared of a Solar Beam, which they don't have. They send in their Rhyperior. I switch in and respond with my White KYUREM. Now, they don't make a Rock Wrecker here, so they go for the Breaking Swipe. I like to no-shield it because I'll be able to farm them down before they make a move, which is great. Then they send back in their Ho-Oh. They're going to get a healthy farm down here, but I can go for the Iceburn. This will do a ton of damage, or grab their shield, which it does. It grabs their shield. They get a lot of farm. However, I'm not actually sure if Rhyperior wins CAP against Ho-Oh. I'm not super sure. They get the debuff there. This is okay. It's not great. But I can go for the Breaking Swipe and actually get the attack drop, which is great. And they just leave the match there. So GG's to that opponent. Alrighty, hopping into this match. Rhyperior into Palkia Origin. This is, as I said, it's a good lead for Hyperion and the 2 shields. So I shield here, and I think they threw on good timing this time. And then I farm up. I go for the Rock Wrecker, because if they no shield, I'll be able to actually farm them down, which they do shield it, which is actually unfortunate, because now I think I lose the 2 shield, which is annoying, but oh well. I'm learning still. So anyway, but then they switch in their Melmetal, so I'm like, I'm not actually sure what I want to do here. I go for the Rock Wrecker. That does a decent amount of damage, but not a ton of damage. And then I just decide, I'm going to send in my Dialga and just absorb all their energy. They go for a superpower here. Then they go for another superpower. I'm like, does this KO? Will I be able to make an Iron Head? It doesn't KO, and I'm actually able to make an Iron Head. I don't think I would have made the Roar of Time. Maybe I would have. I might have. Anyway, Iron Head KOs there, so that's good. They send in their KYUREM Black and get a couple of Dragon Breaths in there. But the KYUREM Black is on Dragon Tail, so I instantly lose that match. So GG's to that opponent. Alrighty, one of the last matches. I'm pretty sure, I'm sorry. Rhyperia into Black KYUREM. Now, this Black KYUREM is on Shadow Claw again, so I can outpace to the Rock Wrecker here. They can elect to no shield or shield it. They actually shield it. As I said, I usually like to Breaking Swipe bait, but sometimes when they no shield, it's very, very bad. And if they no shield a Rock Wrecker, it's very, very good. They actually bait with a Fusion Bolt, which I was like, this is so annoying. They shield the next Breaking Swipe here, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to no shield this. But they go for another Fusion Bolt, which is a big mistake on their part, as I just want shield advantage for what I have in the back. But now I can go for Breaking Swipe, and now I have shield advantage and switch advantage, and I'm able to make the Breaking Swipe against this Dialga Origin that they sent in, and I get the attack drop. They send in their Zacian. I can just send in my White KYUREM. But here it's a bit interesting, because I can shield this. They go for the close combat, and I'm not sure. I don't think they would have made another move there. Either way, I could have thrown the Fusion Flare and that game would have been over. So GG's to that opponent. Alrighty. Hopping into this match, Rhyperia into Ho-Oh. Good lead for me. They send in their Dialga, and I respond with my own Dialga. Now, I am behind on energy, but I am best buddied and a hundo. So I'd be able to win CMP. They go for the Roar Time there, so I farm up quite a bit and go for the Iron Head here. Because if they no shield, which they probably will no shield, I'll be able to leave with a lot of energy. They send back in their Ho-Oh, and I'm able to go for Roar Time here. This will basically guarantee to grab their shield, unless they elect to no shield, which they don't. And then I can get a bunch of damage with my Dragon Breath. They get a lot of energy in the Ho-Oh, but this is okay unless they're on Solar Beam, which they're not, thankfully, thank God. And then they send in their Palkia. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. My KYUREM doesn't really want to see them, and they no-shield that Breaking Swipe, so I go for another Breaking Swipe, which they don't no-shield, but that does get the debuff, thankfully. So I can shield this, hope it's a Spatial Rend, and it is a Spatial Rend. Shield this, farm all the way down, and basically leave with an Ice Burn. I do leave with an Ice Burn, and I can just throw it here on alignment. Doesn't matter. Move time, it doesn't matter when you're using Ice Burn at the end with no shields. So GG's to that opponent there. All right, we're at the end of the video. Thankfully, that took ages. I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to showcase a lot of battles. Overall, I had a lot of fun with White KYUREM. It was actually really, really fun, especially even though my IVs weren't amazing on this shiny White KYUREM. I was using Black KYUREM originally, but I was just super weak to Landorus, and I needed that fast move damage. Like, that was the biggest thing, the fast move pressure. And White KYUREM just brings it, and it's not even that slow to its moves. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I can't wait to upload this video, but I can't wait to make more videos, and they won't be as long as this one. But yeah, thank you all for watching if anyone's up to this part. But sincerely, thank you, and I will hopefully get better at my commentary in the next video. So anyway, thank you all, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.